Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Swept Media, the convergence of AI and Web3. Today, we're going to take a look at Aether's vision for a compute-driven future and what these blogs mean in general from these projects that have their blog. I should preface by saying I actually kind of like Aether's blog. It seems like it's written by AI, but the topics that they put into their blog are insightful. They're very it's a value add for the community to get insights on what the project is thinking. And so I think that we're going to take a look at the main topics of this blog in particular, and I guess cross-check the claims against the actual data. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone that I will be at Southeast Asia Blockchain Week. I'm a media partner there. So if you're going to be in Bangkok in the first week of April, then let me know. We can meet up, have some coffee, or I can see you on the conference floor. We can get a little interview in. And also make sure you tune in soon. This week, we have two podcasts being recorded. I'll release the first one with Kaib. I have the founder from Kaib, Connie. He's going to be with us actually tonight. We're going to be recording it in just a few hours. And then later this week, I'm recording the next podcast with the iAgent co-founder, Jamie Batzorig. iAgent is going TGE soon, so that's a really well-timed podcast to be doing with him. But we'll get back to this topic now, the AI revenue surge, Aether's vision for a compute-driven future. Now, instead of reading all this, it's a lot of block text. This is why I think that an LLM actually generated this, because most of the time people wouldn't write like this. They might edit it to add some links, but even like this sort of thing, this is something that a person would do, because the LLM would usually put the hyperlink just in the text, not in the adjacent spaces to the words. This is something, that happens with WordPress a lot too. So I had Gemini, or rather, no, I had Grok summarize this blog so we can get an easier, more accessible bit of what this blog is actually getting at. And you'll see that these blogs are a marketing tool, and you can't fault Aether for doing something like this. Everyone uses their blog for marketing and pushing their business agendas. But what Aether's doing is trying to tie in a real world issue, like a potential problem or a trend that they see in the space, and turning it into a message for the solutions that they are providing. So it focuses on AI adoption surge. AI is experiencing rapid adoption, of course, across various different fields, and that is leading to a demand in GPUs. I think we've talked about that a lot here. That's the compute power. And what Aether does is they offer decentralized compute. So it's not all from one single data center. You can offer idle compute from your system and put it into the Aether system and earn some money in the meantime. The growth of AI is fueling a rising demand for GPUs, which have transitioned from graphics tools to critical infrastructure for AI tasks, such as deep learning and training large language models. Next, the cycle of innovation. More powerful GPUs enable AI breakthroughs, which increases AI adoption and revenue, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. That's true. That's called the flywheel. And I think that we're going to be talking about how the flywheel in regards to commoditized compute power, commoditized and tokenized GPUs will work with Kaib soon. Next, Aether's role in all of this, and this is where the marketing comes in. Actually, if we look at the blog, Aether, like they talk about, this blog talks about how in each of these sections, Aether solves this with this Aether solution, and Aether solves that with that Aether solution. In regard to the GPU stuff, they say Aether Edge taps into a vast distributed pool of... Aether Edge is one of their products. I wish I had one. I don't have one, but that is their solution essentially. Next, they talk about network scale, and Aether's network includes 60,000 devices. And, we're going to get down to this bit here, which I think is the most important, the market evidence of this demand for compute power, demand for AI tooling, and how people are using it. Stripe's 2024 annual letter showed a sharp revenue increase among AI companies on its platform. And there were some numbers in here that Grok didn't show us. I think it's towards the bottom, right here. The horizon for AI is undeniably bright, with projections forecasting a global market size of that's $3.6 trillion by 2034. That's a growth rate, annual growth rate from 19.2% from 2025 to 2034. Pretty impressive stuff. I found these claims dubious, as I always do. It has nothing to do with Aether. It's more about when someone throws numbers like that around, I want to see these sort of things corroborated. Like, what evidence do you have of that being the case? Why do you think it is this way? So what I did was I fed some data into Gemini, into Flash, and I had it summarize that data and bullet point it so that we could see by market sector where are these valuations coming from? Why do you think it's going to be a 19.2% annual growth rate for the AI sector overall? Or maybe those numbers are just not real. Now, currently, OpenAI, the United States AI sector is largely, like, mostly OpenAI, and OpenAI is currently and so OpenAI is basically most of the American AI sector with a $300 billion valuation. I think I put the U.S. market right now is $146 billion. Right now also, or maybe it was just before this, OpenAI was around $130 or $140 billion valuation. So that's where that valuation comes from. It's mostly OpenAI. OpenAI's valuation was only just recently upped to $300 billion. And I don't think that this takes into account Grok or X, which is not as much. I don't know how much they've raised for that, but it's not $300 billion. OpenAI is expected to increase to 340 with more funding. Next, we have OpenAI projected revenue exceeding $30 billion this year. That's pretty good. Then cloud infrastructure. So the main claim from Aether's blog is that there's going to be this tremendous increase in valuation of the overall global AI market. And that's going to be broken into different mini sectors, of course. So, for example, cloud providers right now, Aether counts as a cloud provider. It is nowhere near worth $1 billion, not even close. But AWS accounts for 30%, Microsoft Azure 21%, and Google Cloud about 12%. And of those cloud providers, that spending is around $330 billion. So that means AWS is around $20 billion in spend that they're taking from the market. Again, Aether is nowhere near that, but that's where these main traditional tech companies are clocking in for the amount of cloud spend that people are putting into the market. Next, the big one here, global AI market. Right now, it's around $640 billion, expected to be $3.6 trillion by 2034. And again, that's corroborated by this number. So this data is actually from the same research that Aether did. It's corroborated through this research, cross-referenced. The next one would be in the US. It's expected to grow to $851 billion by 2034. So that's accounting for about 20%, around 20% of the global market will be from the United States AI market. That's pretty good. The U.S. market accounts for a lot more than that right now, percentage-wise. So I'm not sure why it believes that this would be the case. Maybe competition from China and other companies or other countries is taken into effect there. Next would be AI hardware market. So again, Aether competes in this as well. They have their Aether Edge. It's currently worth around $31.4 billion and expected to be $624 billion by 2035. That's an even larger annual growth rate than the overall AI market. So maybe it would be a good idea to invest in some graphics cards or something along those lines. So anyway, overall, these numbers are quite staggering, but it corroborates a lot of the claims that are made in Aether's blog. Again, it's probably made by AI, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the articles that I put on my site on sweptpod.com, those are also mostly done by an AI, so I can't really fault them for that. But at any rate, these are really interesting numbers that you should be looking forward to and maybe probably positioning your portfolio to have some exposure to sooner than later. So again, tune in tonight, or rather tune in later this week when I'm going to release Sweat Podcast number 3 with Connie from Guide, and next week with iAgent. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.